we are going to show you step by step, and I mean every step, on how to build a small pondless waterfall in your backyard. So we're out here in Naperville, Illinois. Met with this customer about 6 months ago out here, and we sat down like we always do, kind of in the backyard. They have this gorgeous patio out here. Great yard, kind of a hidden gem. You would never guess from the front of the house that there was this much space in here, and even have this great little alley over here that we can work off of. One of the challenging things for me on this project was really figuring out the design, and usually the design comes to me just like that. And as we sat at this table, which would be like their kitchen table outdoor, your eye definitely goes into this space. And a lot of people, I think, would have really picked that space, because sitting here, you see it so much better. But if you've ever watched the channel in the past, you know how adamant I am about designing the water feature from inside the house. And if you can make it look good from inside the house, then of course it'll look great from outside the house. So instead of going over here, we went over here. The first step is getting a pondless kit. Pondless kits come in a variety of different sizes. We're gonna use a 6 aqua block pondless kit. Here's the photo of that. Once I've gotten the kit and everything else put together, it really just comes to laying out. So I like to take the top panels, put them on the ground, then come in here, mark them out with paint. It's gonna give me a blueprint of where I wanna dig my hole. Now, the hole needs to be about 12 inches deep. Digging the hole, start in the middle of your hole and then work your way out towards the outside edge. That way, every shovel will come out that much easier. Now, all of this soil usually stays on site. So we're gonna take all of our excavated soil, throw it up where the waterfall is gonna be, and it'll help create our berm. Now, I know just from experience that these 6 aqua blocks at a 15-inch depth is not gonna give us the amount of soil I need to create the berm size I need to support the waterfall I'm gonna build. So we did bring in some extra soil. After about an hour, hour and a half of digging, your hole should look something like this. Before you know it, you have your entire thing put in the ground. You can see how much extra liner I have. So we've got our 6 aqua blocks down. It's really 5, and then we took 1 aqua block. And if you look back at where that pump vault's at, you can see I took one of those aqua blocks, cut it up to fit around our pump vault. Now I've got all this extra liner that I get to play with. And this is my canvas, this is my palette, this is the area I gotta work with. All right, so I'm sitting down here, and I think one of the challenging things to do is kind of open your mind up to a different vision. You can see that the liner goes this way, but I need things visible that way. I have to anticipate that there's gonna be a couple boulders sitting around this vault to help hide this area. And so those boulders might come all the way out to here. If I put a frame rock here and a frame rock here, that waterfall is gonna drop this way. And I really want that waterfall to drop this way. So what I'm gonna do is fold this liner back. Instead of putting a boulder here and here, I'd rather those boulders kind of sit back in here. So I'll fold that liner back, dig this out, so I can pull this waterfall back, giving me more real estate between this fall and the rocks that have to go there. So let's start digging and we'll get these rocks set. So you can see how loosely I said we are gonna start digging. That really means I'm gonna have Jack start digging. And so Jack's starting to prep that area while I start looking for the right size boulder. The nice thing too is we've got a selection. So they got that 5 tons of boulders, maybe a little more than I need, but I love having that selection so I can play around with them. So I'm just looking for different characters on the stone, rocks that kind of slope this way, rocks that are tall enough, rocks that are extremely heavy. That rock probably weighs somewhere around 250 pounds. There's no way I can pick it up by hand, but with that tree dolly, I can roll that thing right in over the top of the aqua blocks, get it really close, and get it down into that area that Jack over excavated. So you can see all that fabric is past the area of the aqua block. So I'm back into the earth at this point, getting that frame rock set, and let's explain kind of a little bit of how I'm doing this. Hey guys, as you're watching this video, make sure you check out the link below. It's the only time we've ever done it. We are doing a backyard makeover giveaway, 100% free for you guys. You guys can win a backyard like this, if not even nicer, just by clicking the link below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll be to your yard soon enough. So literally, we're gonna show you one rock at a time how this goes in, but I also wanna talk a little bit about why we choose rocks. So I've got a lot more soil on this side, so I wanted a rock that was gonna retain this soil. I also want something that kind of comes onto a slope here. If this rock were to sit like this, it would end up looking like a field goal post, which is gonna look ridiculous. So again, we always take our inspiration from nature, and this waterfall, we're gonna try to build out of the fewest rocks possible. And if I take an inspiration from nature, what I normally see, big rock on one side, big rock on the other side, water comes in between. And the idea is water's come down a hillside, eroding away the earth, leaving back behind boulders it couldn't move. So our next rock should be a little lower. I don't want another one this high because again, it'll look, even on the angles, it'll look like field goal posts. I want this one to probably be a little lower. Hopefully it's got a high side with a little bit of a taper, and then we can get a little waterfall coming here. And our next fall might come from this angle. We'll see how it goes. You know, I've got my other frame rock in here, kind of sliding it into place. Again, this rock's probably 150 pounds or so. You don't have to use rocks this big. I like the size of these boulders. It looks like Mother Nature kind of put them in place. Now I want that rock to slope a little bit, so I have no problem with taking some of these little pieces and shimming it up to get it to slope towards the other one. So Jack pulled that liner, dug out a little bit behind those two frame rocks. That rock that we've got up there sitting on top of the liner is gonna fit down in here. I'm using a little bit of gravel to put it as a base, drop that rock in, and now I've got my big rock on the left, my big rock on the right, and that rock is gonna be my waterfall stone. Now I chose this rock because it had a crisp cut off edge. So if you can look where Jack's right hand is there, it's got a little cantilever. I know the way water is gonna shoot off of that rock. Now we're just kind of laying out where the rest of this stuff is gonna go, and it's gonna be kind of repeat. So remember, when you're building your waterfalls, keep it simple, stupid. Big rock on the left, big rock on the right. Set up your frame rocks and then figure out where your spill stone is gonna be in between. And we're gonna do this multiple times until we've either run out of liner or we've run out of height to work with. Here's Andrew putting in those rocks around the vault like we talked about earlier, anticipating the space for those. Jack kind of just doing some filler rocks around here. Again, using some of those small rocks to shim things up to get them on the angles we want. And we're just gonna keep going. And then we made a game day decision to add the filter bowl. The main reason of adding the filter bowl on this was to give them another little small waterfall visible from that patio space. That bowl is going to give me a lot more height out of a waterfall without my berm having to get crazy big. Now here's Jack doing the repeat. We're going to shave down this earth, get it to where we want, pull the fabric and the liner back again, and now I've got the flexibility to work with this. I always put extra liner on too. Every single job I put in, I always get more fabric, more liner than I need, because I hate being handcuffed to creativity because liner says I can't go any further. You can see I have an abundance of extra fabric and liner here, but now I've got the flexibility to really play around with it. We're gonna kind of frame out this bowl. Let's just take a second to look at this. Think of the bowl as your spill stone. So you still wanna frame the bowl out with frame rocks. So Jack just put in that one boulder. It's gonna kind of frame out the bowl on the left. We're using the frame rock on that waterfall down below to frame out not only that pink rock, is also gonna frame out the bowl at the same time. So that rock's multitasking, if you will. Now we just gotta figure out where we're gonna bring in the last waterfall. Where the bowl is going to go. We pulled the bowl out of the way for a second while we frame out our last waterfall. So remember, big rock on one side, big rock on the other. You can see Jack standing right in between it there. Put the bowl back in place. That's where we're going to have it. And then those other two rocks right there where Jack's standing is where the last waterfall is going to go. Now, of course, while one guy's working on the waterfall, you can't have 4 guys working on a waterfall. So other guys are usually doing this edge work. And this is how we're able to get a project like this done in a day. Everybody's got their job. One or two guys are working on waterfalls, 1 or 2 guys are working on plumbing, 1 or 2 guys are working on edging. Everybody's kind of doing something. So here's that last waterfall. You can see Jack's got frame rock on the left, frame rock on the right, and he's just finding that flat rock to fit in between. Takes that torpedo level, levels it side to side. Now, here's all the purpose for all that extra rock. I'm starting to put in this retaining wall over on the side over here. I'm gonna get that big rock in there. That's gonna hold back a lot of that dirt and help us do our edge work. Here's again the advantage of having that extra liner. So I can just fold all this stuff back and then backfill with soil up to it. Last thing we're gonna do is our plumbing. So we're gonna take our Waterfall Spillway, set that right behind that waterfall. So I'm gonna cut out a hole in the liner, put the spillway through the liner, attach your bulkhead fitting, bring in some plumbing. We've got some ball valves that have to regulate the flow between the flow of the spillway and the flow of the bowl. We have a manifold that'll separate the two, and plumbing is done just like that. So now that all the plumbing's done, the plumbing's hooked up to the back of the spillway, plumbing's buried back in some earth over there. We finished trenching that. Jack's just got to hide the spillway now. And here's again why I like to have some extra liner. If the liner stopped just behind that plastic waterfall spillway there, I wouldn't have the flexibility to play around with this big rock that Jack's got in his hands here. It's gonna be trimming back fabric, cutting everything away. I'm gonna start working on this edge. Hey, great trick here. Look at how we're using fabric as kind of a sling to move these big boulders. Neither one of us can pick those things up, but we can take our scrap fabric from the side, cut up kind of these slings, and two guys can carry them and bring them right into place. It'll save your back, it'll save some energy, and you'll be good. Andrew's just kind of figuring out how we're gonna disguise that back edge over there. Again, this is where everybody's kind of breaking up into different teams. All right, the dreaded time of bringing in the rest of that topsoil. So I ordered 2 yards of topsoil. Our dirt guy, when he brings it, just kind of guessed it. There's no way that's 2 yards. I think that's like 5 yards of soil. But having a little extra is better than not having enough. So we're gonna start moving all that topsoil in and finishing off our berm. One trick I would always recommend with the bowl, backfill with some gravel. And the reason I like to backfill with some gravel around the edges of the bowl is if for whatever reason a leaf or a stick or something got in front of the little spillway that comes out of the bowl and created a dam and backed water up too much, so instead of it spilling off into the ground, it finds that gravel vein that you put all the way around the bowl and will go back down into the feature rather than out into the earth and everything else. So you can really see this coming together. Everything's looking good. We have actually got what looks to be a waterfall. Jack's kind of hiding it there. His knee is on the original waterfall stone. His right knee is on the other frame rock. Just above him is the second waterfall. And then just to the left of the bowl is that third waterfall. And so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rocks kind of framing out your waterfalls and building your waterfalls. And then a variety of other miscellaneous stones just kind of going off into the landscape and supporting all those other waterfall rocks. Now we're gonna foam behind all the waterfall rocks. We use that waterfall foam to seal behind the boulders. We're just trying to finish off some of our edges. We'll start filling up our reservoir, and then it's just clean up, finish moving the dirt and making it all look nice. I think the next thing to do is show you guys the reveal. First thing that comes to my mind is the decision of moving the waterfall, the Pondless waterfall, from one location over to a next. And the main reason we did that, if we follow me over this way, this area gives me a lot of space and it feels cozy, and I would have loved to have put it here if right here there was a big giant window that looked out into this space. And you guys know me, especially those of you who've been watching the channel, every single time I design a water feature, I design it from inside the house. To me, it is just so important because every day is not like this. It is like 60 in November in Chicago, and these days just don't exist. So when we try to design it from inside, the whole idea is when it's November and it's 30 degrees like it's supposed to be, you can still enjoy the sounds and the view of the water feature. And a lot of these can be set up to run all winter. And here, we've got a kitchen window, which is king. And you guys know how much time you spend at a kitchen window. And usually that kitchen window looks out to a backyard. Sometimes it looks out to a front, but it's always got a window by it. They've also got a door right here that lines up with a chair that looks right out this way. And then one thing we did to really try to enhance the views even more from this patio space was adding this bowl. So this was not part of the original design. This bowl was an add-on feature. And the thing the bowl lets me do is get a waterfall now facing towards that patio. It also lines right up with Mary Beth's chair at her kitchen table over there. Third thing this bowl did is it allowed us to put a light inside of it, right there, shining straight up, lighting up the canopy of this tree. And because of the wavy action that happens on top of this bowl, those wavy marks move up into the tree, all lit up, turns the tree, it brings the tree really to life. And so I love the addition of this bowl. It wasn't hard to do it. We just tapped right into the plumbing. And so we get water coming out of here. And then over here is where our spillway is. and they take the two of these and give us that waterfall coming down. Other thing I love about this project is how well it just fits into such a small space. We walk in the backyard and sometimes we see these big elaborate water features that take up most of the backyard. This doesn't take up more than a 10 by 15 foot space. What we always like to say is everybody loves a water feature, they just don't know it yet. I think more importantly, people don't realize that they can have a water feature of such substance in such a small space. And 10 by 15 feet gives you a lot of space to work with, plenty of room for additional landscape. This is gonna be one of those features as all the plants come back in, this is just gonna look better and better. And I know they love this feature because something else happened in the 2 weeks we're gone. A wall came down over here. There used to be a retaining wall, very similar to this one over here. It sat from here around this way, and by taking that wall down, now they can sit here. You can see that they've already moved chairs over into this spot and taken the sounds of that waterfall. The other thing I really love about this water feature is the perceived height of the whole thing. A lot of people would say this has got a 2 foot to 3 foot high waterfall. And really, if I were to draw a level line from where the water starts, not from the bowl, but from where the water starts over here, it's probably someplace in here, which is no more than 15 inches. So a straight line across comes up into here. Now what we do is a trick, and we take our aqua blocks and we drop them down a good 8-10 inches lower than grade over here. We call it a free waterfall because it's actually the same height as the grade over here. So we're really just talking about building up those two areas. But building up 15 inches, dropping this down a little bit, gives me a lot of room, a lot of creative possibilities to do a fun little waterfall. And this is gonna be one of those waterfalls that birds just absolutely love. They're not gonna sit here in these fast areas, but they love areas like this, where that water just kind of crests up on top of a rock, super shallow, areas like this here, and even up there where the water starts in those shallow pools. This is such a fun feature, love doing this, and more importantly, this is something that I think you guys could do yourself. It took a team of us about 30 man hours to do this whole thing. If you can think of moving 15 so larger boulders, nothing bigger than what we could move in a tree dolly, spending a couple weekends on it, you too could have something like this pretty easy in your backyard. So if you guys want a water feature like this and you want it for free, it's super easy. We're doing a sweepstakes, we're doing a giveaway, and it's not just me, it's all of the past artists of the year. All of the past artists of the year in the link below. And all you have to do, you guys, is like, comment, subscribe, and then you get points. And if you want even more points, make sure you share. Sharing is really important. If you want even more points than that, then check out the link below with all of the past artists of the year. Like, comment, subscribe, and share their videos. The more points you get, the more chances you get to win. We're gonna be giving away this contest really, really soon. I think we've only got a couple months left, so there's plenty of time. There's lots of videos, and it's not just on our channel, it's on everybody else's channel. Hope you guys like this one. Tell me your favorite part. We'll see you next week. Bye.